This game was a game from ancient Greece. Its name was Latrunculi. The Romans loved this game so much, they also played it, but they renamed the game to be called Ludus. Ludus is played in two different phases. The first phase is to move your men, or your pieces, onto the board. This is meant to resemble the field of battle. Each team has 10 pieces. 10 for the white, 10 for the red. It doesn't really matter who goes first, but you put your pieces onto the board 2 at a time, and they must be together like this. They can either go this way or this way, but they must be together. So you take it in turns, putting your pieces on the board. I recommend to begin with, you leave a bit of space in between the other side if you can, and spread your pieces out. Even though you might think it's best to keep your pieces together on the battlefield, for this game you really want to spread them out so that you can move ready to do the next part of the game, which is to capture the enemy. That is phase 1 complete. Now for now, when you're learning the game, I recommend doing phase 1 as quickly as you can, and then you can learn how to play the game in phase 2. If you then get time to play the game again, you can take a bit more time in phase 1, because actually it is quite strategic. You need to think where to put your pieces. But for now, don't worry, just go through phase 1 as quickly as you can. Once they're all on the board, this now moves to phase 2. In phase 2, your job is to capture the enemy, and to do that you have to get one piece either side of the enemy. Now there are no captures allowed in phase 1, so if any pieces are captured at the moment, which looking at the board they're not anyway, it wouldn't mean they're captured. Only in phase 2 can you capture pieces. Now if it's white team's go, I can see here that they can capture not just one but 2 of the enemies straight away. If you move this piece to the right, to there, I can now capture both of these pieces. Now you noticed I moved 1 square. That is all you are allowed to move. You can't move more than 1 square and go across the board. You can only move 1 square. And you can only move up, down, left or right. So for this move, I've just moved 1 piece to the right. Now because there are no gaps in between these pieces, these now get captured. And to capture them, you turn them over. And you will see on the other side, there is an X. Let's imagine that when the X is on the piece, they have been handcuffed. When that piece has been handcuffed, that piece can now not move. They can't help you capture another piece, and they can't move. You now get 1 turn to try and rescue your captured pieces. And to rescue a captured piece, you have to capture one of the capturers, which is one of these. However, when the pieces like these are on the edge of the board, you can't release them anyway. So, if you can't release your pieces, you look to go on the attack instead. So it's now red team's go. And I'm going to look on the board and come up with a strategy on what I want to do. Now I could have moved this one here to capture this piece, but because he is handcuffed, that wouldn't work. So I can't do that. Now if you do make a move during the game, as soon as you take your finger off the piece, you're then not allowed to move it or change your mind. So be very careful when you're moving a piece. Put it back to where it was and let go if you don't want to move the piece. Now, there's not really any good moves I can do at the moment with red. So I'm going to think ahead and plan a move. So I'm going to do another move which you can do called a leapfrog. I'm going to leap over this piece and go into that gap there. Now you might think, hang on, what a silly move. You've just captured yourself. Well, you can't capture yourself. The enemy has to move and capture you. So if you move into the gap in between 2 of the enemy pieces, you are not captured. Now because that was my go and I didn't rescue these 2, these now get executed. They get removed from the board. And you can keep them at the side just like that, so you can see how many you have captured. And you continue playing like this until one side wins. How do you win? Well, basically, you start with 10. You have to get the enemy down to just 4 pieces. As soon as they're down to 4, you win the game. And you have to make sure it is 4, because otherwise, if you say, I'm going to get rid of all of yours, you could just play the game forever. The other person would just be running away from you constantly. So you have to have that limit of 4. Now it is white team's go again. And I'm going to look carefully at what the best strategy might be here. I think I'm going to move this one up to the top. Now every move that someone makes, the other team have to think, why have they just moved there? There should be a reason. And what you can see, if you look carefully, is that next move, I could go there and capture these 2. So if you're red team, you have to stop that happening. So a good move is just to move this one down to there. Now I can't move that one to there and capture those 2 because there's a gap. So you have to go for a different strategy. What I have done now though is leave this gap free here, and I forgot about the red piece. So I could now either move this one back to there or move this one across to here, and this one is now captured. This might be a good chance now to show you how to free that player, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. Let's imagine that red piece is actually there, and now it's red team's go. So to release this piece, I have to capture one of the capturers, which is that one or that one. So if I move this piece here to the right and capture this piece, because these 2 pieces are either side, this piece now gets freed. He gets released, and you can carry on playing with that piece. Now it's white team's go, and they have to capture one of the capturers to try and free that piece. As you can see, it's impossible, because you already have to have a piece one side of the other, and you have to only be 1 square away from that piece. What this game teaches you is you need to think very carefully about moving your pieces, and your pieces have to support one another. The best way to learn how to play this game is to play it.